Do you know what we're going to do? Exactly, we are going to talk about observability while eating increasingly hot sauces.
Fantastic.
And with me, I have Severin Neumann.
Hi.
Severin, tell us more. Who are you? Why are you here?
Yeah, so I'm Severin Neumann. I'm here because you invited me for a hot challenge,
That's a great answer.
and I never say no. So that's my biggest flaw.
So we are going to start with a micro-saucerie pico peppers,
Okay,
hot sauce, garlic delight, creamy and garlic.
let's see. That's okay.
It's okay, it's savory. They deliver on the garlic. So let's start with the questions. What is your involvement with OpenTelemetry?
So I'm part of the OpenTelemetry governance committee. So that's a group of people that try to look out for the project, like the health of the project, project management, and also I'm one of the maintainers of the OpenTelemetry documentation. So what I always like to say is like, I'm not to blame for it, but I'm responsible. So if people have questions about it, they can always approach me.
Good. Let's go with the second round. It gets it takes a little bit to take off, to be honest. The first round I expected the difficulty to go a bit higher. We're going with a sriracha hot sauce, pickled garlic.
Okay. I mean, I'm a German and I'm not used to eating that hot, so you will have much more fun.
So
with
maybe
me.
this is German spicy. All right, let's go, Severin.
Let's try that one.
It's nice. Vinegary.
I think the first
Savory.
one was hotter. I don't know.
No, I think that was the garlic.
Yeah, maybe.
Actually, I prepared a few questions because
Okay.
I always get lost. So, what is your observability villain story? How did you fall in love with observability?
Okay. So a long time ago, it's now almost a decade ago, I was a software engineer and the company I worked on did not work out. So I was looking for something new. And then I ran into one of the APM vendors. I'm not sure if I can name
Yeah, they're
companies.
dead. You can go.
I can, yeah. So I went to AppDynamics and I saw the product and I saw service maps and things connecting and everything. And as someone who has developed software for a long time, I was like, where has this been all my life? So I joined this company as a pre-sales engineer. And the cool thing as a pre-sales engineer is you see a product used in a lot of companies. And what I always liked about observability is it gives you this insights into oh, this is how it works at a car manufacturer or an e-commerce store or a financial institution. And you see so many different applications of it. And that's how I fall in love into what we called APM back then. And now, of course, I call it observability like everybody else.
I have to say also, AppDynamics was my first love.
Yeah.
At SAP, the service map blew my mind. Then we keep taking it down and finding 5 bugs every time we open the UI. So they did not win the business of SAP, but it was my first APM. It
Yeah,
was
that's
my
good to
first
hear.
wow. All right, next one. Quentin sauce, white hot mustard sauce. The color looks scary. Ooh, nice consistency. This one probably means business, I would say. Nice, sweet. No. Could go with Weisswurst. Yeah. A bit German sauce, I would say.
A little bit, yeah.
It's a bit German, I would say.
That's okay.
So, what is the worst outage you caused?
I mean, I just told you, right? I was a pre-sales engineer, so you can imagine what happened from time to time.
Denial of wallet?
Yeah, you say hey, let's install an agent into this application. And I think the worst offender for me was NodeJS back in the day.
Oh, yes.
Because today, you couldn't imagine that, but adding a Node.js agent into some applications, we went from a response time of 300 milliseconds to 3 seconds, and
Great.
suddenly everything blew up. And
Great.
yeah, I have one specific case in mind. I will not call out any names, but this was a lesson learned. So
In the early days,
Yeah.
every APM would take out an application every time.
Yeah.
Because there were many lessons learned.
it's like how do you say this in English? You have to go through this as
Yeah, it's a rite of passage.
yeah, exactly.
All right, and now another rite of passage. Smoking dragon, smoked habanero and peach. All natural smoked hot sauce. This is
You're
dark,
generous.
good consistency, looks mean. Smoky, vinegary, also a bit fruity, nice.
Still okay.
A little bit of chili on the, it's coming in a little bit.
It
One can
starts
feel
to get hot.
It starts to get hot, right? Yeah.
We
Fine.
can work on that.
All right, let's see what is the next hot question. One of my favorite, signals. Kiss, marry, kill.
Okay. So I have to admit, like, I knew that this question would be coming, so
Yeah,
I thought
that's what I
about
told
it
you.
for a little bit because, like, KISS profiles, definitely. I think, again, coming from APM, right, we had code level visibility all the time. And when I went into OTel for the first time, like many people, I was confused, right? I had a span, and I compared this with a call graph in my APM solution, and it took me a little bit to figure out, wait a minute, those are two different concepts. And now having profiles in OTel, having code level visibility back, awesome. Mary, metrics.
Metrics.
Yeah. Because like, we need them, right? Like we cannot, and people always disagree with me on that. Like you and I, we had discussions on that with other people, but metrics are like our bread and butter at the end of the day.
They're the only reliable. When everything else fails, metrics are there for you.
Yeah, exactly. And if you want to alert on something, you need a metric. You cannot alert on anything else. It's my...
No, technically you need to be able to count things.
Exactly,
Not
that's
all
a
of it is
metric.
metrics.
That's
No, this
and
is
a
maybe
very-
the sauce disagreeing.
Yeah.
But you need to be able to count things, but you don't need to record the count.
I think that's maybe the point where people disagree with me. Like I have a very, very broad definition of a metric. The moment you roll out something up to a numeric value, the moment you count something, for me that's a metric.
Oh, I see.
Okay? Because like at the end, sure, it depends on how you represent it, but at the end of the day, if I roll something up to a number, even if I throw it away immediately, it's a metric. And kill, and here's the controversial one,
Ooh.
spans.
Why? How dare you, sir?
I said spans and not tracing, right? I was thinking about this a little bit, and I was like, spans have a lot of advantages, but they also have disadvantages. One thing I would find interesting to see, if we would not have spans and just events, and could say like, here an operation starts, here an operation ends, we could do certain things we cannot do with spans easily right now, like long-running processes. You cannot reliably use spans for that, right? I cannot indicate like, oh, something started. Or think about the situation that like, you have a span, not long-running, but like your root service crashes, and then you have orphan spans because like the root span never said like, hey, I'm starting, right? So that's where I say like, probably you invite a lot of other problems. But if we would kill spans and have like an event-based system, could be an interesting...
Effectively, instead of spans recording the start and the end of separate logs.
Yeah. But I'm not like, I would say everybody who's now worked on this for years would say like, sure, we can do this, but there's different trade-offs, right? But I would find it interesting to see how this would work.
Good answer. Right? Now we go with something increasingly serious. Tropical Amarillo. Heat level 6 out of 10, allegedly.
6 out of 10, okay.
Allegedly. Let's look at the color. It's a mean yellow.
Oh,
It's a bit runny.
it looks good.
It looks very good. It smells very good. Nice.
Not too spicy? No?
No, it starts a little bit to say hello. I'm here.
It's more like while I'm talking, it starts to get spicy in the mouth, but it's still doable.
It's doable. It's fine. It's cool. So, it was recently announced that span events are deprecated.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
I think it's a good idea. I mean, at the end, like, we have logs, we have span events, we confuse people with that. Like, we confuse people always with logs, events, span events,
Log events.
log records, log recorder, whatever. So it's like confusing already. And at the end of the day, I think it's a visualization problem, right? Like, and that's the thing that always, I have not seen the latest version of Dash Zero, to be honest, but I have.
It's great.
Yeah, but a lot of observability tools I see, I don't like how they show logs and spans side by side. Very often it's like, oh, show me the logs for this span here, and then it jumps in an entirely different UI. And it's confusing, right?
Oh, in Zero, you can see very nice on the
Yeah.
sidebar. When you go to logs, you see the related logs for the resource. Soon, actually, this is going to ship very soon with the logs and also the other
Yeah,
logs
yeah.
that's in trace.
I cannot remember. One vendor had it like you had like the span, and then like the event timestamps, like you saw the events on the span itself, right?
We actually do show that
Yeah.
in the sidebar with the timeline. We show it also on the trace view.
And that's what I want, right? I like what's the difference between a span event and another event? I mean, there's most of the time those things are related. So
I love that you're getting rid of span events because they were profoundly misunderstood. I wish we had better APIs already for creating log records. And I think people are going to get mighty confused between trying to think that a span event has to be a log event,
yeah,
when in reality they just map to log records. A log event is a log record with a special name, which actually should have been called type because naming is hard. And the idea is that all the log records with the same event name describe something similar with a similar structure.
I think the only concern is processing in the collector, right? Because right now in some of the processors, you can take a span and then say like, hey, and give me the events of the span, which are like part of the package, and then you can process them. And there we have to figure out a solution. And I think so far today, but as well also in the GitHub issue, this was the thing that people complained about or said like, hey, and I think that's something we have to figure out.
Actually, in Zero, we're going to ship soonish that automatic transformation from span events to log records. And I think all it needs is a connector additionally, because with the filter processor, you
Yeah.
can drop the span events from the span, and you just need a connector to transform it.
Exactly.
And if the collector wouldn't be stabilizing and they're being very, very dodgy on accepting new components, then we would open sourced it. But if people are interested, we can put it on an open source repository, and then you can just pull it in with the OpenTelemetry collector builder that Jurasim, my previous guest, was talking about. All right, now we are getting higher. Homegrown hell. So this one, Sichuan tangerine hot sauce leopard.
It looks good.
It looks good and scary in equal amounts. Oh, this is me. Very fruity. Oh, this is nice actually. I love that. All right, let's see what's the next hot question. What is the most hostile environment for OpenTelemetry you have seen? The most difficult environment for you to monitor? What was the worst?
But back then it was mainly the APM agents. And back then it was mainly C++ and Go, because back then we had no SDKs, right? And it was like a nightmare, especially, but now like PHP 5.4, and we still have people asking for it.
Yes.
And that's like bonkers.
It's
like
terrible.
It's like even back then, like we had like with AppD, like we deprecated PHP 5 support, and then it was like,
And people cried.
Yeah, and people were like, oh yeah, we have this internal service running on PHP 5.4.
But my worst was somebody coming in and say, hey, I have PHP 3.10. Can you support that?
Yeah.
And I had to answer, look, I was not born when the thing was put in production.
Number 7.
Number 7. This one is called Nirvana. Funky hot sauce factory, Nirvana. Dragon's breath sauce. They mean business. Nice taste. What is your favorite semantic convention and why?
I mean, I always like the classics, DB and HTTP, right? I mean, there's like, that's our bread and butter business, and I'm so excited that we have stabilized them. What I'm missing, semantic conventions for database server instrumentation.
But in reality, there is like a couple of databases out there that emit server spans, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The Java
like,
ones.
And
Cassandra,
MySQL
Elastic.
Enterprise Edition is doing it.
They do, cool.
There's some Postgres plugins that do that. And I was always like, hey, it's also a piece of software. Why not give me tracing? Why not give me an explain plan in a tracing form? Like, I'm not a database guy. There's probably 10 reasons why this is wrong, but
I can tell you one. That was one of the first outages I caused because I wanted to integrate another APM with SAP HANA. It turns out that putting the trace ID as a JDBC attribute causes the database to throw away the query plan entirely. and I cratered the performance of critical database. Also, it was like very, internal SAP stuff. Yeah, I'll just YOLO a bit the driver. It didn't die, but it was
but
notably slower, and people were mad. All right, then we are gonna go for the bomb and then the last tab. This one is mean. I can tell you that in advance.
Yeah, Yorasi said this already, so I'm not very generous. A little bit.
Come on, don't vussify on me, dude.
Huh?
Don't vussify on me.
Oh yeah, it takes
This
a
is
little
just the evil, the sauce.
bit. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
It's there, right?
It takes a little bit, and then it's
Takes
like,
a bit, and then goes like, bam.
Now I'm warm. I was freezing a little bit before I
Have you
joined
already
in,
sweated from the eyebrows? I've been doing that for a bit now. Oh yes, if you would go back and redo OpenTelemetry again, what would you change?
What would I change? I mean, what I said before, right? I think like there's probably a lot of downsides to it, but like having an purely event-based system would be interesting to see how this would have evolved, right? So,
if I recall correctly, H-Trace actually did something like that.
Yeah, but I guess there's a lot of downsides to that. So I think we should have waited for some things to happen, like not maybe accepted that many things into the project that quickly. Because I think that's a pain that we feel at a lot of places within the project. It's like teams are running really, really thin on like what they're doing. And then especially because of that, one big thing for me would be like force people from day one to write their documentation. So that's definitely something we're lacking way behind, to have like good documentation practice for a lot of things.
Although
right?
now with LLMs, we can probably do a lot of that almost automatically. I mean, we do that in the zero bit.
Yeah. I mean, you still need like the expert in the loop to
Yes,
some regards, but yeah, I mean, I know that like a lot of the PRs that we get for docs now are LLM driven. But
Which is fine.
Yeah, it's totally fine, and I think that's what we should be doing.
All right, let's go for the last one. This is the last dab.
Okay.
This is the big one.
So this is the 10 of 10.
This is the one that we regret, Severin.
Okay.
Give it a good last dab, sir.
You're very generous.
I am stupid, it's different.
No, definitely. Oh yes. Okay, that's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt.
Wow. Okay.
What is your favorite special interest group and why?
My favorite special interest group, of course, is dogs.
Dogs, of course.
I'm super excited about the. Okay, this is hot. This is hurting a little bit.
Stay with me. We can make it
The
together.
Ecosystem Explorer.
Oh, nice.
I'm super excited. I wanted to do this for myself for like a long time. And now we have Jay doing that for us and like building out like the registry version 2.0.
Explain us what is the Ecosystem Explorer.
Yeah, it's getting really hot.
Yeah, right.
So the idea is like that you have one place where people can learn about, okay, what instrumentation libraries are available, what collector components are available, but then also being able to drill down into them and see like, what metrics are they exporting? If I go from version X to version Y, what is changing? Like really building out this like knowledge base that then maybe also LLMs can use to make better decisions.
That's very cool. All right, we made it until the end. This was the last lab. Thank you, Severin, for being here. Tell us where are people going to find you?
All over KubeCon, so we'll be strolling around. After that, I'm not to find that easily because I have a few weeks and months for myself.
All right, Severin, thank you for
Thank
being
you for
here. It was a
having me.
pleasure. Let's take a picture.
Yes.
He made it. No tears were cried.